Thank
Hello,
you. Hi.
everybody. Welcome to Raw Travel's first ever webinar. I'm Sandra. I'm the UK Destination Manager.
And I'm Leanne, the UK Destination Specialist.
And tonight's talk is about the Southwest Coast Path, one of our most loved hikes.
And definitely one of our favourite topics.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Leanne has just come back from walking it.
I came back about 2 weeks ago, I think. I'm over my jet lag, hopefully. So,
and I walked the entire path over 50 days. And it was actually the happiest time of my life.
You still say that.
I know, it's true, it's true.
So those of you who are not yet familiar with Raw Travel, we are the #1 choice for self-guided walking holidays. Some of you know us well, and thank you for joining us. And some of you are here to learn about Raw Travel and get a feeling for us tonight.
So make sure you stay tuned because we have 2 competition giveaways. The first one is for the Salt Path movie, which people will be very familiar with. We are sponsoring that with Palace Cinemas.
We're also doing some spot prizes along the way tonight.
We have the Great Walks competition, just in case you didn't know that we were having another competition. So the Great Walks competition is a magazine competition.
Yes, and so we do have a chat box, hopefully you can see, so feel free to put your questions in there and we'll answer some questions at the end.
Okay, so to be able to put the Southwest Coast Path and what we offer into context, we're just going to give you a little bit of information about the Southwest Coast Path. So it is a designated national trail, Leanne.
It is, and that is signified in the UK, as some of you who've walked before in the UK will know, by the acorn symbol.
It's 1,014 kilometres long.
It runs
it runs from Minehead in Somerset to Poole in Dorset, and along the way it goes through Devon and Cornwall.
The next bit's your favourite fact, so I'm not going to steal that from you.
It is my favourite fact. So if you walk the whole path in its entirety, you will have walked the elevation of Mount Everest 4 times. So that just illustrates it's a roller coaster. So you need to be aware of that.
But don't be put off by that. You can certainly do sections of this path, and we customise a trip that suits you best, which is why we love talking to you, getting to know you, and helping you put together a wonderful trip.
I love the fact that I've walked the elevation of Mount Everest.
That's kind of cool.
I know, right? Okay, so why would you walk the Southwest Coast Path? What do we say, Leanne?
Well, I always say, why would you not?
I know.
Because it's just so amazingly beautiful.
Yes, it is. Okay, so these are the sections that we offer, and we've broken them into 3 different ones. Because it's such a long path, we actually need to kind of break it up a little bit so that we can understand it. So the sections that we offer are Padstow to Falmouth, the Cornish Camino, and our new walk, which is called the Jurassic Coast Walk.
So we're going to go into more detail about these sections, but we also customise some shorter sections along these larger sections.
Yeah. So what to expect? So just remember, whatever section you do, you will see
the beautiful dramatic coastal landscapes,
incredible history,
the adorable villages along the way, and really cute active fishing towns.
Yeah. And the white sandy beaches, which
oh my God.
You and I, we feel a bit disloyal to Australia talking about the beautiful UK beaches.
But and we live by the beach. Sandra's a WA girl, and my God, the white fluffy beaches in the UK. I had this preconception that there were pebble beaches only, and oh my God, they are white and fluffy and incredible.
It's not true. Okay, and the other thing is, of course, is the food, and seafood is a specialty, as you can imagine, on a coastal walk.
There's incredible handmade ice cream in this area.
Especially in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Cornish pasties.
Oh, yeah.
My favourite, I think.
Yeah, the pub food is incredible.
Yeah, great pub food. And scones and jam and cream.
Yeah.
Or if you're in Devon, scones, cream and jam.
Yeah. Fabulous accommodation. We'll go into that in a bit more detail further on as well.
Okay, so let's get into the first section. So we've called this the Rugged Path, and this is the section that goes from Padstow to Falmouth. Now, we don't want you to think it's rugged because of what's underfoot. It's rugged because of the coastline. So this very dramatic coastline.
Yeah.
So I just got a little map here. You can see where Cornwall and the other counties are in relation to London. And you can also see Padstow up there. I don't believe that you can see my cursor, but you can see it goes all the way around to Falmouth.
Now, this section is 22 days, as we've got it on our website. But as I mentioned before, we customise our itineraries, so you can do a really popular section, for example, which is Padstow to St Ives.
Or you can do St Ives to Penzance.
Oh my God, I love that section so much.
That goes around a very dramatic bit of
really
coastline.
does. You might want to do St Ives through to Falmouth, which is typically something like 15 days.
Yes. And as Leanne said, we can tailor make them, but you need to talk to us about that. So whichever section you do, go through these lovely little towns.
Yeah.
So we actually chosen this image because we love it. And it was sent in by a couple of customers of ours, Sally and Megan, who have just recently returned from doing the Padstow to St Ives section, the same section that you did.
Yeah, I really love this picture because I feel like it captures a lot of what this gorgeous walk has on offer.
Yeah. So we've got the sandy beaches there. You can actually see the trail.
Yeah, which I think it's a great representation of a lot of the trail, actually. It is quite well worn. It's easy to navigate and see your way. I mean, you've got the beach on one side, the countryside on the other. So it's a really great trail to walk on underfoot.
And you can actually see what we've got here is remnants of the tin mines. So the tin mines are dotted all through Cornwall. They actually call them wheels. So wheel is spelled W-H-E-A-L, and it actually means place of work or tin mine. And there is a very famous wheel called Wheel Coats that featured in Poldark.
I think you like that series, don't you?
I do. I'm sure there's a few girls out there who know why I like that series.
Yes, I have to watch it one day on my to-do list.
Okay. So we talked about this roller coaster ride, and this image here is actually a very good representation, again, of the kind of the size of the hills and also the infrastructure that is along the path. So if you look closely, you can actually see that there's stairs.
I like this picture. It's a really good representation of some of the stairs along the path, and this is probably one of the longer section of stairs that I walked up. And you know, it's not like you're climbing up for 3 hours. You might walk up these stairs for 10 minutes, and then you sort of go over another rolling hill.
Yeah, they're generally over and done with pretty quickly, aren't they? And there's Megan there looking back over where she came from.
Yeah.
So we did mention that there are a couple of days in the after St Ives that are quite difficult and are actually considered to be the hardest along the entire trail. So Leanne walked this section just recently, and this is one of her images, and I'll just let she can just finish off talking about this.
Yeah, I took this photo because I think it's a really good representation of what I found probably the hardest part. This was on the St Ives to Zennor day. I absolutely love this section. It was one of the busiest days I found along the trail. And I think there's a number of people who seek out this section for the dramatic cliff line. And there are some rock climbing or boulder climbing sort of sections. So this section here, I think, was probably the hardest part. It took me about 10 minutes to sort of climb over these rocks. I used my hands, I used my poles. I didn't feel unstable at any time, but it certainly was different to walking on a well-worn path.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why we've actually reduced the distances over these 2 days. So the first day is only 11 kilometres and the second day is 12 kilometres. But there's definitely a reason for that. It is because it is quite technical walking.
And there's a great pub if you're walking St Ives to Zennor. The Zennor pub is awesome.
And we do want to point out, in case people think that you walk into the water, you actually don't. So don't be scared about what you're seeing there. You are not going to end up in that water.
No, you do turn the corner and go around and you're back up on the coastline.
So we talked about the beautiful beaches, and we did talk about how disloyal we feel to Australian beaches, but
how can you not love this? Seriously.
I know, right? And what we love about these stretches also is this is the time when you can actually just kind of relax and do that kind of meditative walking that is so lovely about, you know, hiking.
Yeah. You can even go for a swim there too.
Yes,
the water's lovely and warm.
Yes.
No, it's fresh, but it's gorgeous.
So make sure you take your bathers.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Yeah, but we don't judge people if you don't take your bathers. That's entirely up to you.
Yes.
Okay, so we did talk earlier about the stairs, and this is actually a very good close-up of them.
Yeah.
I would say that this is probably a bit steeper than what most of them are.
I think so, but it's probably more typical of the stairs you find along the path. They are quite short-lived. You know, you might walk up 10, 20 stairs and then you're back on the floor.
Yeah.
So it's not too painful. They're quite nicely graduated steps on the path, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Okay. So, and again, we just wanted to show you, you know, how well worn the trail is. It's very easy to navigate, especially with the support of our Raw Travel app, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yes.
Okay, so we did mention, oh my
Oh,
gosh,
no, right.
delightful villages. Wow.
I know, and you, as you wind your way along this dramatic coastline, you'll turn the corner again. And I announce to myself, I think every day, this is my new favourite village. So I've got many favourites.
Who couldn't love
I
that,
know,
right?
it's just gorgeous.
We did mention the ice cream. I think
Mm.
I had an ice cream most days when I was on the trail. So that's a lot of ice creams because I was on the trail for 50 days.
Yeah, and you're walking it off, so you've got to have your rewards.
I know. So actually, the ice cream in Cornwall is quite famous.
It is, because there are a lot of dairy farms in the region.
Yep.
And
And-
attractive cows make good ice cream.
Yeah, right. And speaking of wildlife,
Yes.
so seagulls.
Yeah, these are some of our friendly locals in Padstow. The seagulls, I call them mega seagulls. I'm sure they're double the size of our seagulls here.
And I started calling them Jurassic seagulls.
Yeah,
just
they're a lot. I really like them. I quite like waking up in the morning along this coastline. You can hear them chanting. You can hear them in the afternoons. You do have to guard your fish and chips on this path because they will steal them if you give them an opportunity.
especially in Padstow around Rick Stein's
Yeah.
fish and chip shop.
Oh yeah, Padstow. A lot of you have probably heard of. It's such a gorgeous village. Its nickname is Padstein. He is very well regarded in the area.
Yes. Okay. So speaking of more beautiful villages, St.
Oh,
Ives, oh my God.
I love this place so much. It is just such a beautiful village. It's known as an artist enclave. There's really beautiful light, which draws in a lot of artists. There's a Tate gallery here. There's gorgeous laneways to wind your way around.
Yeah.
The food I had in this place was ridiculously
Yeah.
amazing.
So, you know, what isn't to love? But let's move on. Oh my gosh, Leanne.
Oh gosh,
It's
spot prize.
prize time. Would you believe? We've actually got a question for you. So Leanne is going to ask this question. First correct answer, I should
Yes.
say.
So our first question, how long is the full Southwest Coast Path? We have Sam here behind the scenes. He's going to hold up the answer very soon.
Sam and MJ are quickly working out who the winner is.
They're watching our
Who's it
chat
gonna be?
box.
Who's it going to be? Oh, Kath M.
Well done,
All
Kath
right.
M.
Well done, Kath.
This is your prize, this beautiful book. And just flick us an email. We'll show our email address again at the end, ukhikes@Raw Travel. Send us your most up-to-date address and we'll send you this beautiful prize.
Well done, Kath. That is the Salt Path by Raina Wynne, in case people weren't aware of that. Okay, next section, the Cornish Camino. So Cornish Camino takes in 2 pilgrimage routes. So
this is a really special trip. It's only offered by Raw Travel, and we've put together this trip to give you some of the best parts of the coastline and also 2 of the beautiful pilgrimage routes in the area.
So it takes in the Saints Way and St. Michael's Way. St. Michael's Way is the only British route of the Camino de Santiago. So very special. And if you have walked the Camino de Santiago, then you might want to consider this. You'd actually also consider this if you wanted to get a little bit of relief from the coast. Because it goes inland. So I'll just show you the map here. You can actually see travels along the coast, takes in Foy and Lou, which are
I love
2
that
more
section
of our favourite.
so much. Yeah. And Polperro, my goodness.
Yeah. So it goes across St. Michael's, the Saints Way to Padstow. And then it comes down the path, which we've been talking about, from Padstow to St. Ives. It goes across St. Michael's Way and ends up at St. Michael's Mount.
And the Penzance area. It's a lovely trip. It's typically done over 15 days, but as we mentioned, we customise. So if you want more time in St. Ives, we can add that in for you.
So what you will see along this route and what makes it so special is these ancient, there's ancient standing stones, there's ancient churches, Celtic crosses. It was walked by pilgrims and missionaries walking from Ireland and Wales.
Yeah, and they did walk across the country to avoid that dangerous boat trip around Land's End, to avoid the pirates in the area.
So we were talking about how you come across standing stones. So these are marked on the app. So because some of them are just kind of randomly placed. So always consult your app. And here's another example of the kind of things that you'll see.
There's amazing history along this trail.
There really is. And we actually indulged ourselves, didn't we?
That's Jennifer,
That's
isn't
Jennifer.
it?
She looks so happy, and we love the product placement.
Which we didn't pay her to do. She willingly did that for us. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
So this is Jennifer walking the Cornish Camino.
Yeah. And we always like to put in a picture of sheep because sheep are dear to our heart.
We love sheep.
Yeah.
Especially when there's a gorgeous church in the background.
We do love, yes, especially. Okay. So we did talk about ending at St Michael's Mount. And St Michael's Mount is a tidal island, and it's a very significant pilgrim site. The pilgrims would have left by boat from here to get to Spain.
It's been a community, I believe, for 4,000 years,
Yes.
and it's still an active community. There's still 300 people that live on this island.
Yeah. And to get to the island, you need to walk across this ancient causeway. So at low tide, at high tide, you would need to take a little boat.
Yeah, it only takes sort of 5 minutes to get over and reach the island. It's a beautiful journey.
So Leanne has just walked this.
I have. I just took the boat over to the island, and it is just such a gorgeous place to visit. It's a very famous landmark for good reason. So you can see on your screen now the beautiful castle there. The gardens are gorgeous to sit in and take in the view. There's some great cafes on the island. It's a gorgeous place to visit.
Did we say it's been inhabited for 4,000 years?
4,000 years.
It's incredible, right? And this castle was actually built in the 13th century, so it's very old.
And I really enjoyed actually going inside and reading the story of each of the people who live on the island and the family story.
And there's beautiful gardens in there.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
So, okay. Oh my God, Leanne, it's spot prize time again.
Okay, our second question for you. Get ready to jump into our chat box. What is the name of the famous tidal island in this section of the Southwest Coast Path? Once again, we have our support crew behind the scenes looking at our chat.
MJ and Sam, I can see them. There's some concerned looks. It's a photo finish, I think, I made, but they're not sure. Oh, I think it's controversial. Hang on, we have a winner. We do have a winner. And it's drum roll. Very long drum roll.
It's like live television, isn't it?
There's two. I'm hearing that there's two. There's two winners. How exciting.
Lucky we're not live television presenters.
Okay, so we've got Ian Mason.
Fabulous. And Julia Huggett.
Well done.
I'll hold up 2 books for the moment.
Well done, guys.
And flick us an email again with your most up-to-date.
Wow, that was exciting.
Address. That was a bit of fun, wasn't it?
It really was. Okay,
next.
Right, next. So, all right, we are so excited to offer this section of the Southwest Coast Path. This is along the Jurassic Coast, but in-house here at Royal Travel, we call this the easier section. And you can see by that image, it's very easy. You can just lay on the beach if you wanted to.
Well, we can go for a walk as well. That's what we're about.
Yes. Okay.
So this is typically a 9-day trip?
Yes. Sorry.
That's all right.
I moved the slide.
That's why we're both here.
Okay. So this goes from Exmouth to Weymouth.
We don't want you to say Exmouth or Weymouth when you're there.
No.
Not cool with the locals.
No, you'll get into trouble. They will, they won't. So Exmouth and Weymouth.
Yes. So this walk runs through Devon and Dorset.
Yeah. And we chose this because there's a gentler terrain. We've offered shorter walking distances.
We have. So the longest day on this trip is 18 kilometres. So it's something a bit more gentle and certainly a bit easier.
Yeah. And it's actually part of our Slow Walks portfolio, which I'm not supposed to mention. It's a bit secretive.
We've always been oversharers, haven't we?
We have. Oh, well.
Never mind.
Okay. So this particular photo is really, obviously you can see the difference between the coastline of the other section that we showed you. You can see the sandstone. So this is actually red sandstone in here. And if you look in the distance, you can see that the hills are quite gentle. You kind of meander along those.
Yeah, the history of this Jurassic coastline, it stretches from roughly 252 million years to 66 million years ago. So pretty amazing.
Yeah, very ancient coastline.
And the colour in those red cliffs is from the iron oxide in the area.
Yep. So we love this because it just kind of encapsulates lots of things. So people enjoying themselves. There's a few pebbles on that beach, Leanne.
Not too many.
Yeah.
There's a few. There's a real variety of beaches down this part of the world.
There really is.
So this is Ladram Bay, for those that are wondering.
And so again, this we love this, but because it actually demonstrates. So once you move out of the geology of the red sandstone, you start coming upon the Chalky Ridgeway that actually goes through to the South Downs Way, which is so we offer trips on the South Downs Way as well. This is very ancient coastline as well.
Yeah, it's lovely seeing that coastline change from the red through to the white, which, I mean, a lot of you might have seen as that coastline does continue on from this area through the South Downs National Park right around to the White Cliffs of Dover.
You'll love it. And
gorgeous.
You can actually see that the pathway is pretty good as well.
Yeah.
So we did mention earlier that you need to look out for the acorn. So the acorn is the symbol that the national trails use.
And sometimes you'll see signage like this that might be signified by an older stone. You'll see wooden signage as well along the path. Whatever way the signage is displayed, it's pretty good along this path.
Yeah. The signage is pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty well signposted.
I find I'd turn a corner and I'd see another acorn, another sign. So I found it pretty easy to find my way with the signage.
And always important to keep the C on your right.
That's true.
So as we've talked about, whatever section you do, you are always going to come across these gorgeous villages.
Yeah.
Some of the ones on this route are Exmouth.
There's Sidmouth.
Lyme Regis.
There's also a little town called Beer.
Yeah,
You've been to Beer.
we love the kind of imagery that Beer conjures up.
Did they run out of names? I wonder and just call it Beer.
They might have done. Beer is very important in the UK.
I prefer cider, but anyway.
Okay. All right. So one of the other things, or one of the kind of touristy landmarks along the way is Portland Bill.
Yeah.
I love that name.
It's pretty cool. This is a pretty popular tourist attraction along this section of the path.
Yeah. You'll actually see Portland Bill on the last day as you walk into Weymouth. Okay. So pretty special time.
Yeah.
And speaking of special times.
Oh my goodness, spot prize again. How did that happen?
No. We're flying through the spot prizes.
So the next question we have for you, what is the name of the coastline in this section?
Anyone? Oh, we've got
There's someone there. Support crew looked quite busy.
That was much quicker this time.
All
right. Yes,
Diana. Well done, Diana.
Well done, Diana.
We have a copy of this beautiful book for you as well. So once again, ukhikes@rawtravel.com. Send us your best address and we'd love to send you this prize.
Okay. Now, something that is close to our hearts, Leanne.
Yes, food. We talk a lot about food.
And drink. And we do love to eat and drink, don't we?
We do.
And we especially love to eat and drink in places that are date back to the 16th century.
Yeah, you can't talk about an English walk without mentioning the pubs and the amazing food.
And they actually have good beer gardens as well.
They're delightful. The sun comes out, the English come out, and it's such a lovely place to meet locals and have amazing conversations.
And for those of you who have a small appetite, their meals are huge. So you might want to consider having just an appetizer.
Yeah, there's so many wonderful things to have in this seafood-rich area.
So we did talk about scones and jam and cream, or scones and cream and jam. Now, just for those of you who are playing along, and Leanne, where would you say this is?
Let me think. Scones and cream and jam. I have looked at my cheat notes to say it's in Devon.
It is in Devon. And it's kind of another thing that you need to watch out for. So, you know, part of the etiquette, if you're in Devon, do it this way.
Or just eat it faster, I guess.
Yeah, you could do that. We did talk about the seafood. And the reason we actually love this photo is because you can see the Southwest Coast Path in the background. So you would have walked along there to get to your Cornish crab sandwich.
And I love that you turn the corner and there might be another tiny little village. It might be just a food truck and another gorgeous beach. And there's another great food offering there.
Yeah, just overwhelmed with gorgeousness. Yeah. And we did say that, like, no one does pubs like the English.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to our accommodation, Leanne.
Yeah, I love this picture. This is one of our favourite accommodations.
Yeah. This is St George's Country House. It's owned by Brad and Ulrika, and Brad is Australian, just FYI.
And their cat.
We don't know the cat's name.
No.
We must find out.
We must.
The actual standard of accommodation is quite high along this trail.
And we're really particular about our choices we make with that.
We really are.
We use a mixture of pubs, B&Bs, country.
You will get a bit of a coastal vibe that comes through on a lot of the places.
Yeah.
This is St Bennett's Monastery, and you will actually stay here if you do the Cornish Camino.
This is a gorgeous place to stay. This is in Lanavette.
Yeah, it really is. And just one final one, just an example of the kind of accommodation that you'll stay, and this one is in Falmouth.
Yeah.
So We want to get to, so what do we include in our hiking packages?
Yeah, we book all of your accommodation in your itinerary.
We transfer your big piece of luggage and you just walk with your day pack.
We include a customized itinerary on our app. So it's a bit like Google Maps. You can see yourself as a blue dot on the path. Really handy if you do come against a crossroad and you're not sure which way to go along one of them. You'll see the blue dot move and then you can quickly U-turn if you're going the wrong way, which I only did a couple of times really.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy to find your way.
Easy. Daily breakfast.
Really important to load up on an awesome breakfast so you've got that protein and stamina for the trail.
Yeah. And we have a raw travel support person. Actually, her name is Heidi. And
she's awesome.
She's based in the Lake District.
Yeah, she's a qualified guide, and some of you might have met her when you did the coast to coast walk.
Yep. We also include luggage tags and hiker's buff.
And we also include, our guidance and our knowledge.
You can talk to us.
We're not just here to put the trip together for you. We're here to help you every step of the way. So you can always call us with your questions, and we're here to support you to have the best walk possible.
So, Leanne, who can walk the path?
Well, we don't have any particular age limits. The most important thing is having a chat with us so we can match you to the walk that suits you best. You do need a good fitness level for these walks.
Yeah. And what we've done, as you can see by the slides, is that you can, we've tried to show you how much of a roller coaster it is. We don't want to hide and make it impossible for people to do. So get your fitness up, walk with your intended gear. So that would be your shoes and your socks and your day pack.
Yeah, and do the training early. If in doubt, we'll take more stairs, more hills, and then you get the rewards along the trail.
Yeah, you enjoy it better when you're fit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Leanne.
Where's Dave? How did he pop in there?
This is Dave. This is the owner of Raw Travel. He manages to get himself into all sorts of on our website, on any of our training.
We can't leave him out, really.
I guess not.
Yeah. So that's Dave. He's English, and it's still one of his favourite walks of all the travels he's done around the world.
So when is the best time to go then, Leanne?
The season in this part of the UK runs from April through to October. So I was there the first 2 weeks of April this year, and I was absolutely blessed with sunshine, which was amazing.
So it's in the south of England, the walk, so it is a bit more of a temperate climate. So the weather is generally a little bit better than the north.
There's some of the best time to go is definitely the shoulder season. So April, May, the spring flowers I saw out in the path, even early April, were absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And even September, October sort of time as well. It's quite stable in terms of weather, and the crowds have gone because school holidays have finished.
Yeah. We do tell people to try and avoid bank holidays and school holidays.
Yeah.
And we do actually recommend that people don't travel during June and July due to the busy tourist season. It's just too busy and you won't enjoy the villages.
Even August as well, while the school holidays are still on, you know, it's the path does get busier, and even just having dinner, trying to get a dinner reservation in somewhere like St Ives is not ideal.
It's a bit loved to death, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so what to pack?
I think, first of all, footwear and socks are really, really important. So I wore my well-worn hiking boots. I prefer the ankle support as I'm walking on multi-days, but you may prefer like a trail running shoe. So depends on the weather. I prefer that, the hiking boot has its wet underfoot.
Yeah, it's good to have a bit of support.
Yeah.
You could possibly do it in a sand shoe, but we wouldn't recommend that.
And if you were, you'd want to have trail grip underneath.
Wet weather gear, of course, just always pop in, rain jacket.
It's especially important to have the best quality rain jacket you can afford and wet weather pants just in case.
Sunscreen, water.
Yeah, definitely water. There are places along this path to fill up your water. I prefer to carry enough water for the day, but there certainly are places to fill up.
Layers, so always carry layers. Hiking poles.
I definitely use my poles on a few days, and if you do come up against some trickier weather, they give you an extra bit of stability on the path.
And we've already talked about swimwear being optional.
Yeah, I think that's a nice thing to have in your day pack in case you jump in the water.
Or if not.
Yeah.
Okay, so now on to the details of our wonderful competition that we're giving away. So in conjunction with Palace Cinemas, Raw Travel is sponsoring the Salt Path film in Australia.
And we do have a competition running. So there's a prize for 2 to walk the Southwest Coast Path, and that includes airfares.
Total value,
$9,000.
We must have got Dave in a good mood.
So the competition's being run by Palace Cinemas. See it on their website. When you go to their website to book your ticket to the movie,
you
tick
need
the box to opt into the competition. That's really important.
Yeah. And also enjoy the movie because it's fabulous. And we'll put the link in the chat.
Yeah. We also have, as Sandra goes to the next slide, another competition running.
Dave was feeling generous, wasn't it? So this is, and this link is going into the chat as well. So this is in conjunction with Great Walks magazine. So if you go to the greatwalks.com.au, you can actually enter the competition. It closes May 14th.
And for this one, we want to know in 25 words or less why you would like to walk the Southwest Coast Path.
Why wouldn't you?
So,
and you can read the article in there that I actually wrote about my experiences.
It's a good article.
Thank you. On the trail as well. So, you know, there's a little bit of an added extra if you want to take 5 minutes out of your day to do that. Okay. Almost there, Leanne. Oh, and you're almost.
Oh, hello. There's me.
Okay. So here we are. Have we got any questions?
So the first question, I like this question. Do we cater for vegan and gluten-free? So thank you, Mina. I'm actually gluten-free and I find it easier in the UK than I do in Australia. There's a lot of gluten-free options over there. I think around 15% of the population in the UK are gluten-free. They have a free-from section in the supermarkets. Vegan, I found commonly featured on menus. So I found it easier over there.
Yeah.
Gluten-free bread and sandwiches is a standard feature, even in a small little supermarket, grabbing a sandwich. I found,
they're very aware of it.
They really get it.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
And they ask you all the time, do you have any dietary, you know?
Every restaurant I went to asked me. So yeah, both vegan, gluten-free, dietary requirements, they really get it in the UK.
Yeah.
I've done all of our walks in the UK and I am gluten-free and I found it fabulous.
Okay, what else have we got? How much road walking?
Thank you, Jude. That's a really good question. I'm now just mentally walking along.
I want to say 0.
I want to say not much. No. Only across when I crossed the St Michael's Way, there was a little bit, not much.
Yeah, very little.
There was a quiet laneway, really, coming from St Ives up the hill, but it was really quiet.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, you're on a coastal path. I think it's around 70% of the walk that actually is in National Park or World Heritage listed areas. So as you come into a town, maybe really not very much at all.
So insignificant amount.
Yeah.
Toileting.
That's a good question, and it's a really important question.
That is.
And we do get it a bit, which is why Sandra wrote an article on our website on that.
So thanks, Karen.
Thank
you,
Karen.
Question. So what would be the easiest way of, they are marked on the app, toilets along the way as much as we possibly can. Obviously, cafes are a good option, or pubs.
Yes, cafes and pubs. When you come into another little cove where there's maybe a pub or a cafe, there sometimes were a few public toilets. There are none up on the hill on their own, thank goodness, because they would look awful. So there are a few times when you've got to do the old bush wee and find a tree and make your timing right. That's just the reality of it. But you do tend to take the opportunities when you go through a coastal town.
Yeah. And Chris and Roz have sent us in a question. Any cycling options?
We don't as yet. If it was, it wouldn't be on the coastal path because it's really not suited with the rocks and the steps and that sort of thing. It'd be quite a different itinerary, I think.
Yeah. So there is a trail called the Camel Trail. It's not very long, and you know, if you were down that way, then you might want to hire some bikes and do that.
Yeah, that's out of Padstow to Wademouth.
Okay,
Wadebridge, rather.
Walking solo. Okay.
This is a good question.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
Janice.
So Janice, walking solo, which of the 3 sections we've mentioned is the safest? The first thing that comes to mind for me is Padstow to St Ives because it is one of the more popular sections. I think it comes down to personal choice. I mean, I've walked it solo. You walked it solo. I felt really safe all of the parts I did on this trail. There were people there if I wanted to talk to them, and that was in early April. But I also had a bit of space along the path as well. So I certainly didn't feel isolated or remote because, I had people along the trails. So I think it depends on what suits you, and we're always happy to talk you through more detail.
Amy, Nathalie.
Any snakes?
No.
I did see one. I actually did see one little one. I thought he might have been a lizard, and I asked a local.
They're not snakes.
Do you think he was a lizard?
Call them vipers?
He was like a little friendly guy. They're not like ours. They're not unfriendly.
No, they're not. The Cornish Camino isn't
it 206 kilometres?
Yeah, just over 200 kilometres. Yeah.
And we typically do that over 15 days.
Yeah. What other questions have we got, Sammy? Is it windy? Hmm.
I actually thought it might have been a little windier than it was.
Yeah.
So there were some days that were, and I've taken a lot of videos. Thank you, Andrew. I didn't find it an issue. I didn't find it problematic.
No. It's really one of those kind of questions that you know, weather is so unpredictable these
Yeah.
days. It's a very hard question to answer. Jane has sent in a question. Do we put groups together who can self-guide? We most definitely do. Depends how big your group is. But yes, that would be something that you could talk to us about. So Leanne's the person to talk to about that.
We often get walking clubs coming to us, groups of friends, different configurations. So yeah, call us and talk to us. We'd love to chat with you. Another question from Mel. I like this one actually. How do you get there? So the best place to fly in is usually London. That's your closest port. And we find a lot of our travellers will have friends and family to visit in London. Always a fun place to recover from your jet lag, to make sure you're well rested for your hike. Generally, look, it depends on where you start your walk, but it's typically about a 5-hour train journey down to this part of the coastline. And it's really easy to get to.
Yeah.
We've got lots of resources we're happy to share with you to help you navigate your way down there.
So wherever you go, it's generally about 5 or 6 hours from London.
Yeah.
What do you mean by slow walks? Bronwyn. Thanks, Bronwyn. So slow walks is actually, it means that we've kind of made the length of the walk shorter. And you can put in rest days. It's just generally considered just a little bit more leisurely, not quite so challenging.
And so you might have a shorter day where you may be walking for 5 hours instead of 8 hours. So it's really just slowing things down, adding in stops to cut down the kilometres. So you might want to arrive into a town, say at 2 p.m, and enjoy some sightseeing in the afternoon.
So we've got a very, I don't know, I don't want to say strange, but maybe it's not.
Well, it's actually a question I do get being on the phone to people. Do we group random people together?
Yeah.
We have often, look, I have done, this is a question we get, and I have certainly, when people ask me this question, I keep their details, a rough idea of what they're wanting to do. The likelihood of someone else wanting to go on the exact same itinerary at the exact same time, it has not lined up in all my years here. So it hasn't something that has come together. But look, always talk to us. But we find that everyone's itinerary and timing is so different. And I think the beautiful thing about customizing these trips is you can start exactly when you want and do exactly what you want. So that we haven't found that is lined up exactly with somebody else.
Okay. How many more questions, Sam? We've only got time for one more question.
I think so. We're getting close to the end.
Who's the lucky last? So this question is, do we walk in the same direction? So the traditional way of walking the Southwest Coast Path is from Minehead, and that's the way that we walk.
And that's the way the guidebooks are written as well. So you've got that support of the
and
infrastructure.
that's the way the luggage transfers go.
Exactly.
And there is kind of just different things to take into consideration. But we're kind of traditionalists, aren't we? And so we like the way that it goes.
I saw a few people going the other way, but they were more day walkers.
Yeah.
So the people I chatted with along the way were all going the traditional way along the path.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, apparently there's two more questions.
Thank you to those that are still with us, and we really appreciate your time and staying with us.
Okay, so the question is, how far ahead do you need to book?
This is a really good question as well.
Wow, so it's getting busier in the UK because it's such a fabulous walking destination.
It is. So look, we are certainly in conversation with people for next year. We are about to open bookings for next year.
2026 is it's been big. We would love to say to you, we would love you to book 12 months in advance.
It means we can choose our favourite accommodations.
Yep.
You've got more chance of being able to walk into town. I think the closer you get to departure date, the harder it is for us to secure accommodations. And look, in some of the larger towns, there are a few places to stay. In some locations, there are only one place or two places to stay.
Yeah.
So the more notice, the better, really.
Because it's a much loved destination down Cornwall, Devon. You're competing not just against hikers, but also international tourists and local tourists as well. So accommodation can be quite difficult to get. So the longer you give us, the better it is for us.
Exactly.
Any more questions, Sammy? And we've got a couple.
Lulu has booked with us to come. She's travelling in August. You're going to love it.
Be like Lulu, right? Lulu's going out in August. we're so glad that Lulu has tuned in.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. It's
Yeah.
lovely to have a mixture of people here. Some of you who've booked, some of you who might have done it, and some are here to learn about the trail. And we hope we've shared some knowledge and some of the reasons why we love this path so much.
So for those of you who have won prizes, you can see our email address and our telephone number. For anyone else, thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. If you need to talk to Leanne and myself, there are ways that you can contact us.
It's our favourite topic.
Yeah, it is.
We love talking about
it. Don't forget, we hope to see you on the trail. Just call us if you have any questions whatsoever.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you.